After finishing the main story of Dying Light 2, I can confidently say it's worth playing. And I was dying for an open world game to scratch my itch while I wait for Dragon's Dogma 2. Giving Dying Light 2 a try for the first time proved worthwhile for several reasons. It was a tough decision between playing the first and second installment, and having finished the first one back in the day, I opted for something new. But the most vital aspect of Dying Light 2 is its well put together parkour system, which adds a whole new dimension to the gameplay. The parkour system, while slow at the start of the game, does open up after you play and progress. I found myself spending more time in the open world, leveling up my parkour skills. I didn't engage in the open world events as much, especially the ones that required combat. I slept at night and I ran in the day. Giving control of power plants and water supplies levels up the faction that you want. It upgrades several traversal methods around the city, however, I traveled mostly by foot. But later in the game, I unlocked the flying system. Then I unlocked the annoying grappling hook, which is actually changed from the first game, and I was not happy about the change. I prefer the grappling hook that pulled me rather than swung me like I was Spider-Man, but in all fairness, it's a tiny gripe. On a positive note, running through the city was some of the most fun I have ever had in an open world game. It's rare when I don't use the given fast travel system. Most times it's there for a reason, and the developers know that sometimes you don't want to traverse without it. Let's be real, it can become tedious in most games, and Dying Light 2 is no exception, I'm certain. But this game made me feel as if I never wanted to use it. Parkour is synonymous with Dying Light, but when you think of parkour, you might think of Assassin's Creed or Dying Light or even Prince of Persia. My point is, why would I want to fast travel in a game with such a magical parkour system? It's clear that the developers put a ton of love into it. Come to think of it, I've never seen a first-person parkour system done so well in a video game. Dying Light 2's parkour system is one of the greatest gaming experiences I have ever had. I wouldn't trade it for a fast, cheap travel system. Of course, if I'm pressed for time and don't want to run anywhere, I definitely will use the fast travel system. However, if I only have 30 minutes to an hour of playtime, I'll just run around and do one mission or two if time permits. I recently craved a parkour system in a video game, and Dying Light fed that craving for me through an asthma inhaler. Dying Light 1 emphasizes zombies and parkour, but in 2, the parkour system is advanced and the zombies take a back seat because of this. Of course, having such a powerful movement system in a video game will reduce the perceived difficulty of the infected AI. It's not that they are slower or dumber, but they are smarter in some regards. But let's face it, the player's high degree of movement tech makes them seem dumber than they are. I enjoyed this. I know some people prefer the dangers of the zombies, and honestly I'm here for the parkour system and the open world, not the zombies. The counter to this is also that the city feels lived in. It has plenty of friendly and hostile NPCs littered across the game. Random encounters fill the world from rooftops to city floors. They make the city feel alive. The game is much more worth playing than Dying Light 1, unless you're feeling nostalgic for the city and the characters in the hotel. But Dying Light 2 has so much more life in Villador. I traveled at night in the first game, so in the second game you can bet that I didn't continue that trend. I don't enjoy running around and hiding from special infected at night. It does make for some cool chase scenes, but I'm not the type of guy to run around alone in the dark. But they do force you to do many nighttime activities, which I haven't really done most of them, so I don't know what the world is hiding from me. Since I did finish the main story though, I'll give it a try for the sake of the game. I did go to the dark area, but in the daytime it's crawling with infected, and I learned that the infected leave the indoors at night. I did enjoy how the infected hibernate during the day inside buildings. It's cool, and there was nothing like this in the first game. It adds a layer of depth to the infected that wasn't there before. The combat is just as well crafted as the parkour system. You're able to slice and dice, chop and mop the enemies up into a stew. You're able to head stomp their brains out of their skulls, and while at times I did find the gore a tad gruesome and unnecessary, I do appreciate the combat system that Techland created. As a kid, this is how I always envisioned combat to be in video games, and while I don't want to show too much of the combat and some of the slicing mechanics because I would much prefer to get this video monetized, and just trust me when I say, whether you use a blade, a crossbow, a katana, a two-handed axe, the combat is fun, it's serviceable, and it's deep enough to hold your attention. The AI might not be the brightest when it comes to having an axe swung at their head, but I do appreciate the way I can approach combat the way I want, because it's not dictated by some AI that likes to act in a certain way with these encounters, forcing me to change up my style. I'm free to choose how I want to engage, and whether that's face first or with traps or bombs or with cool parkour or using the environment as a weapon, it's all up to me. Dying Light 2 is a satisfying romp that gave me plenty of chills and laughs throughout my playtime. Unfortunately, playing solo wears out rather quickly for me. I parkoured through the campaign in about a week and now I'm tackling some of the DLC, but honestly I'll soon set the game aside and move on to something else after finishing that said DLC. That doesn't make Dying Light 2 bad. All good things come to an end, and Dying Light 2 is blessed with this. Not every game needs to be a live service. Not every game needs to be played forever. I wholeheartedly enjoyed my time with Dying Light despite being in a landscape with many great games. I do see myself returning in the future when new DLC drops. I'll be there, car bombing, punching bag diving and trampoline jumping my way through Villador once more. This game is totally worth playing. It's even better if you can get a friend to play with you. But even solo, the city feels alive, lived in. It's full of NPCs to interact with. Play this game. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.